Good morning and greetings. It's the 15th of January, cracky halfway through the month, and it's another slightly damp but mild Northumbrian morning without the benefit of the wonderful sunrises we've had recently. We continue in Mark chapter 2, and the reading this morning is quite interesting because it talks about something that we hear over and over again in the Gospel. Let me just read it to you. He sat down at dinner in Levi's house, and many tax collectors and sinners were also sitting with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. And the Pharisees say, "Why do they eat with tax collectors and sinners?" And when Jesus heard this, he said, "Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I have come to call not the righteous, but sinners." Yesterday I was talking about the paralysis of needing forgiveness, and there's there's a whole array of things in the press that one could talk about at the moment, but I'm not going to. I think one of the things that's important for us as Christians is to know that we are part of the fellowship of the forgiven, or the fellowship of those who need forgiveness. And that's actually a common human condition. And that should give us a different perspective. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we should condone in any way behaviour that is arrogant and which ignores the rule of law, or behaviour that leads to pain in other people, or a flagrant disregard for anything that is designed to help people out. That's not my point. My point is that if we are honest about ourselves deep down, we all know that there is much in our hearts that needs healing. Sometimes there are things that are difficult for us to name, or sometimes even difficult for us to acknowledge. But the truth is, we are all part of the fellowship of sinners, and because of that, we are also part of the fellowship of the forgiven. Forgiven by Christ, who comes to be the doctor of our souls, and that when we acknowledge our sickness, we can find healing and peace for our lives. But we also need to understand that everybody needs this, and that sometimes healing and peace will come to people who we find it uncomfortable for them to be healed and at peace. And this is a general principle that we have to hold to, that no one is beyond coming back and acknowledging their fault and finding forgiveness from God. As I said yesterday, there may be human consequences and even legal consequences that have to continue to play out. But no one is beyond finding God's forgiveness, healing, wholeness and love. A couple of weeks ago we were all talking about Desmond Tutu, and of course the importance of his Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa was to face the facts of the terrible things human beings could do to each other and to do to others, but then to find reconciliation and a way forward to end that cycle of hatred. God in Christ has that same solution for us. To be part of the fellowship of the forgiven is also to be part of the fellowship of the forgiving. May God bless us all.